Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk. And in this video, we are going to be recapping all the women's games from last night. So, without further ado, let's dive in. And the first matchup takes us to Mount Vernon Nazarene, where MVNU victorious over Goshen, 67-54. And for the Maple Leafs, they were led by Kyla Foster, 17 points, 7 of 14 shooting, 3 of 4 at the line. She had 22 rebounds, which was 2 rebounds shy of tying the all-time program record for most rebounds in a game that was set back in December of 1994. So really good to see that for Kyla Foster last night for the Maple Leafs. And then you also had 8 points for Ava Egoff with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 5 points for Lillian Knoll, 3 assists, plus a rebound, 6 points for Nayasi Goss, 2 of 7 shooting, 6 points for her with 2 rebounds, 1 steal. Only a pair of points for Lucia Luke Morales, but she had 4 rebounds though. 2 points off the bench for Paulacia Izam with 1 assist and a rebound. 3 points for Ziane Finesse with 1 rebound. And then you had Kyla Smith at 7 minutes of action, had an assist plus a steal. And then you had Carrie Heiler, 11 points off the bench with 3 rebounds. The Maple Leafs struggled shooting at 33, really struggled from 3 at 14, and they really struggled at the free throw line as well, converting 9 out of 17 for just 52%. MVNU, though, slightly better at the free throw line, albeit not a lot, converting 9 out of 15 for 60%. And MVNU shot way better from the field at 46, way better from 3 at 38. And they were led by Lily Shepard, 18 points, 5 of 15 shooting, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 5 of 6 at the line, 8 assists plus 5 rebounds. 14 points for Anna Swisshelm off 6 of 8 shooting, 1 from downtown. She had 6 rebounds and 2 assists though. 10 points for Angela Roshak, 4 of 7 shooting with 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 7 blocks, and those 7 blocks are two blocks shy of the all-time record for most blocks in a single game that was set by Taylor Gregory during her 4 years as a Lady Cougar from 2017 to 2021. So a big congratulations to Angela for that achievement, at least getting close to that record. And then only 3 points for Olivia Skillings, but she had 1 rebound and a steal, though. And 6 points for Kylie Leibacher with 4 assists, 1 block, 2 rebounds. And then off the bench, Melody Bluebaugh just lit it up. 12 points, 4 of 8 shooting, which was all from downtown, I might add. She also had 2 blocks and 4 rebounds. And then you had Abigail Hardwick with 2 assists, and Naomi Kaib, 4 points with 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And that was your matchup there. And the next matchup takes us to Spring Arbor, Michigan, where number 21 Spring Arbor hosted Taylor, and Spring Arbor here, 83-61. They forced the Trojans into a season-high 25 turnovers and scored 28 points for Spring Arbor off Taylor's 25 turnovers. So Spring Arbor's just playing so aggressively this year under head coach John Williams, and they have just done a phenomenal job, and they definitely are a deep national tournament team, that is for sure. And the one bright spot for the Trojans was Casey Warfel, 23 points, 6 of 18 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 9 of 12 at the free throw line, so really good numbers there. 2 assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals for her. You got 11 points for Maddie Allen, 5 of 7 shooting with 3 rebounds, and only a pair of points for Quinn Kelly, but she got 3 rebounds though. 4 points for Emma Foll with 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. And Selena Blount, only 4 points, but she had 5 rebounds plus an assist, 3 steals, and 4 blocks though. So really good numbers there. Then off the bench you had Kendall Saitsima with 2 points. She also had 2 assists, 1 rebound. And then Katie Moyer got some playing time in the last minute of the game, did not have any statistics. 7 points for Marissa Trout, off 2 of 4 shooting. And then Kaylin Bunch, 3 minutes of action, 2 points plus a rebound. And Emma Anselet, 6 points in 3 minutes of action with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal though. The Trojans shot pretty decent from the field at 46. Obviously from 3, not great at 33. They were decent at the free throw line, converting 11 out of 14 for 78. And Spring Arbor, though, really struggled from the line, converting 6 out of 11 for just 54. However, Spring Arbor was red hot shooting at 51, red hot from 3 at 53.8%. And of course, they were led by Megan Zeitz, 14 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. 13 points for Elena Kolesa, 6 of 8 shooting for her, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. 11 points for Haven Chapman. She had 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. 8 points for Emma Smyska off 4 of 5 shooting. She also had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, though, so really, really good numbers there. And 10 points for Ashley Weller off 4 of 8 shooting with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. Off the bench, Elena Blumberg with 3 points with 1 steal. You also had Lexi Linder with 3 assists, 1 rebound. Madison Socini with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Rachel Reichard, pardon me, 6 points off 3 of 5 shooting, and with a steal. Rylan Goodwin, 6 points with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound. And you also had Aubrey Crockett with 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 points for her. And then, of course, you had Aubrey Callaway with 1 rebound and 3 minutes of action, and Kylie Summer, 3 points and 3 minutes of action. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where number 6 St. Francis hosted Receiving Boats Huntington. All St. Francis here. They got out to a 17-4 start after the first quarter, and after that, it was just all St. Francis. 72-50 the final score here. For the Foresters, they shot 35 from the field. They really struggled from 3, shooting just 2 of 26 for 7.7%. Decent at the charity stripe, converting 8 out of 12 for 66% compared to St. Francis. That was way better from the field at 43, way better from 3 at 47, and worse at the free throw line, converting 6 out of 11 for 54%. And looking up stats for the Foresters, 10 points for Kendra Sheets, with 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Also 10 points for Annika Nelson off 5 of 9 shooting, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, though. And Tegan Akers did not score, but she had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. 8 points for Addie Shank with 4 rebounds. Only 5 points for Liv Raby, but she did have 6 rebounds and a block, though. Then off the bench, only 2 points for Izzy Shepard with 2 rebounds plus an assist and a steal. 2 points for Peyton Hartsoe, which was all at the charity stripe. And 10 points for Lauren Merritt with 4 of 4 shooting, I might add. 2 of 2 at the line with 3 rebounds and a block. And then Kendall Yoakum was back into the starting lineup, or not starting lineup, but back into the lineup off the bench for the very first time since the end of November when she suffered an injury against a game against St. Xavier back on over the Thanksgiving break. So nearly 2 months that Yoakum has been out, and I thought maybe she'd be out for the rest of the year, but obviously that isn't the case. You know, obviously she's on a minutes restriction, but really, really good to see Yoakum back fully healthy. Well, not fully healthy, but good to see her back healthier than what she was. At least, you know, great to see her back out playing, and she got 3 points in just a limited 12 minutes of action. So obviously she's going to have to start off, you know, kind of small, at least in baby steps. You know, keep taking it step by step, but still, you know, great to see her back playing for the Foresters. That's for sure. She's one of the best 3-point shooters on the Forester team. And then looking at the stats for St. Francis, they were led by Isabella Gizzi, who just went off a career-high 24 points, 10 of 15 shooting, 3 of 4 from downtown, with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Only 5 points for Callie Gregory, but she did have 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, though. Taylor Fordyce, 11 points, 4 of 10 shooting, 3 of 4 from at the line with 2 rebounds. 15 points for Julia Mantala, 6 of 11 shooting, 3 of 7 from downtown, 1 rebound and a block, though. Only 2 points for Renna Schweiderman, but she did have 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block, though. 7 points off the bench for Samaya Stout, off 3 of 4 shooting with a rebound and an assist. 3 points for Ashley Cox in 5 minutes of action with 1 assist. Allison Show, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 steal. 3 points for Emma Royce with 5 rebounds and 1 block. And then Abby Stoddard, 3 minutes of action, no statistics. And Rachel Harshman in 3 minutes of action, 2 points with a rebound. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Winona Lake, Indiana, where Bethel hosted Grace. And this was a classic game, and one that came down to the wire. And it looked like Bethel was just going to run away with it. Bethel was up at one point, I think, by like 20 points in the third quarter. Grace had a furious rally, and I mean a furious rally. And, of course, you know, Grace was down 11 points after the first quarter, and in the third quarter, it was a really, really high-scoring game, 36-32 in favor of the Pilots, and in the fourth quarter, the Lancers outscoring them 27-16. Was not quite enough. Bethel, the winners here, 97-95, and for Bethel, and despite Bethel having 26 turnovers as opposed to just 13 for the Lancers, despite that, there were several really good statistics for the Pilots, highlighted by Jasmine Smith the senior forward, 26 points, 14 rebounds, so a double-double for her. Not just that, she was a perfect 11 of 11 from the floor. 4 of 8 at the line with 2 assists, 1 block. 21 points for Olivia Nickerson, 7 of 13 shooting, 6 of 11 of that was from beyond the arc. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals for her. You also had 18 points for Isabel Scales off 7 of 11 shooting, 4-4 at the line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Only 5 points for Isabella No, but she did have 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 rebounds though. And then 14 points for Mariah Claywell, 5 of 6 at the line though, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and one of those 14 points was the second free throw, or the first free throw attempt with 2 seconds left in that game. And then off the bench, you had Hannah Ruddle, one of the other seniors on the team, only 2 points, but she had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Jocelyn Marshall, in 10 minutes of action, had a rebound plus an assist. Only 2 points for Justice Williams, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, though. 7 points for Love Rain Gaskins, 3 of 5 shooting with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And Dominique Stilley, 2 points with 3 rebounds. And the Pilots shot 49 from the field, so really, really good numbers there. 31 from 3. They did struggle at the line, converting 16 out of 23 for 69. And for the Lancers, they shot worse from the field at 41, way worse from 3 at 22. They were slightly better at the free throw line, albeit by not a lot, converting 21 out of 29 for 72%. And looking at stats for the Lancers, of course, Maddie Pointer had 17 points before she fouled out of the game. 6 of 14 shooting, 4 of 6 at the line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. 15 points for Becca Gert off 5 of 9 shooting, 5 of 7 at the line. 3 rebounds and 1 steal for her. Only 4 points for Braylon Terrell, but she did have 9 rebounds and 2 assists, though. And then off the bench, you had Paula Fernandez, only 2 points with 1 steal. Becca Longenbaugh really lit it up off the bench. 12 points off 4 of 8 shooting, which was all from beyond the arc. 1 steal for her. And then Riley Wetz had only 1 point, which was at the free throw line. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal for her. And then you had Morgan Houck, 17 points, one of the starters, struggled shooting, but 4-6 at the line, 9 assists, 5 steals, 1 rebound. And of course, they were led by Emma Sperry, who just lit it up, especially in the third and fourth quarter. 27 points for her, and a lot of that was late in the third quarter and all the fourth quarter. 9 of 24 shooting, just 2 of 13 from beyond the arc. She was 7 of 8 at the free throw line, though, so obviously really good numbers there. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 steals, and 6 blocks. Boy, Emma Sperry just lit up the scorebook in that game last night, that's for sure. And that was your matchup there. And the last matchup takes us to Indianapolis, Indiana, where number 4 Marion hosted Indiana Wesleyan. And Indiana Wesleyan, believe it or not, had a 5-point lead at the end of the first quarter, and then the wheels just fell off after that. And after Iowa was up 19-14 at the end of the first quarter, they got outscored after that by 8. Let's see, there you had. I'm counting real quick, so just bear with me a second. They got outscored 70-28 after the first quarter. So obviously, that pretty much tells you all you need to know there. And now for the Wildcats, they really struggled once again with turnovers. They committed 25 turnovers against Grace last Saturday. They turned the ball over 18 times last night, 3 turnovers more than their season average. Marion only turned the ball over 10 times, so that obviously tells you all you need to know there. Now, the Wildcats did have a bright spot off the bench by Emily Mattingly, 15 points. Now, 7 of those 15 were at the free throw line, though. She did have 1 rebound, an assist, and a steal, though. 9 points off the bench for Ellie Kelleher. So, again, really, really good spark off the bench for the Wildcats. She had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, though. And then, of course, Corinne Grivey did not score for the second straight game in a row, but defensively she was pretty decent with 2 rebounds, so obviously that's obviously something you'll take all day. And then Tori Thompson, 4 points on the day. She was just 1 of 3 from the floor, but she was 2 of 3 at the line with an assist, though. And then Haley Amy did not score, but she did have 3 rebounds and a steal, though. So again, she's kind of more so been your defensive player, at least the last few games. And then in terms of your starters, you had 8 points from Addie Hovey, and she struggled shooting just 3 of 10. She was 2 of 2 at the line with 6 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2 blocks, though, so really, really good numbers there. And then Jade Hovey, her older sister, did not score, but she did have 3 rebounds, 3 rebounds and 2 assists, though. I stand corrected. And then Kylie Bettinger, only 6 points. She struggled shooting just 2 of 6. And then Mila Browning also did not score. So two of your starters did not score last night. So that's obviously something you really don't want to see. But for Browning, she did have two rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, though. And then Isla Krieger, 2 of 5 shooting. She only had 5 points. She did have 4 rebounds, though. So obviously those are really, really good numbers. The Wildcats, this was their worst shooting game since their home game against Spring Arbor, January 3rd. And that was a game where, yeah, the Wildcats in that one ended up shooting, I think it was like 30% from the field. But obviously those numbers were skewed in that game because a lot of that was in the fourth quarter. And the Wildcats last night for the game just shot 28 from the field, 25 from 3. They were really decent at the free throw line. This is a team that's only averaging 72% at the line, and they shot 12 of 15 at the line last night for 80%. So obviously that's a drastic improvement. The Knights, though, also really decent at the line, converting 10 out of 13 for 76%. And for the Knights, they shot way better all the way around. 51 from the field, 44 from beyond the arc. And for the Knights, they were led by Abby McNally, really no surprise here. 23 points, 17 rebounds, 2 blocks, another double-double for her. 10 of 16 shooting, 3 of 4 at the line. You have Madison Bailey with 10 points and 4 of 9 shooting. Bailey had 10 assists, though, so if she would have had 5 more rebounds, she would have had a triple-double. 4 of 9 shooting for Bailey with 4 steals and 5 rebounds. And then, of course, you had 6 points for Kenna Kirby, all 3 of 8 shooting, but she did have 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, though. And Olivia Faust, back in the starting lineup, she had 14 points, really no surprise here either. 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4, that was from downtown. A perfect 2 of 2 at the line, though, so really good to see that. 4 rebounds, 1 assist for her. And then off the bench, you had Emma Simpson in 2 minutes of action, had a rebound. Kylie McNally, 6 points with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, though. Violet Shaluga in 4 minutes of action had a steal, and you also had Eva Fisher in 8 minutes of action had a rebound plus an assist, and Emily Grimm in 6 minutes of action had 2 rebounds, and Zoe Wheeler off the bench, 10 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from downtown, 2 rebounds and 3 assists, though, and that was your match up there. And that concludes recapping all the games from the women's side of things. Then looking at the updated standings, Marion, the 1 seed at 7-1 in conference, also tied with St. Francis and Spring Arbor, also at 7-1. St. Francis and Spring Arbor play each other on Saturday, so the winner of that game is going to have sole possession of second place in the Crossroads League standings. And for Marion, all they need to do is beat Huntington on Saturday, and they would have sole possession of first place in the conference by 1 game. And then, well, actually, they would have, I stand corrected, they actually would still be tied for first place. So, man, it's still a wide open race, 1, 2, and 3. Now, the only teams left undefeated on the road this year, Marion 7-0. The only teams left undefeated at home is St. Francis, Spring Arbor, and Huntington. And then the only team that has not won a game on the road this year, and this is on the women's side of things, is Goshen. And then looking at the standings, so I alluded to Marion, St. Francis, Spring Arbor, all 7-1 in the conference. Huntington, solely the 4 seed at 5-3 in the conference. Taylor now has fallen into a tie for 5th and 6th place with the Bethel Lady Pilots, both at 4-4 in the conference. Taylor, though, does hold that head-to-head tiebreaker since they beat the Pilots the first time this year. They still have to play them a second time. The Wildcats, Vinny and Wesleyan, have fallen all the way down to the 7 seed, so obviously this is just really uncharacteristic and unfamiliar territory for the Wildcats. Now, they still have a chance to get into a top 5 spot, although that's really a long shot. I think more than likely for the Wildcats, they're probably playing for 6th and 7th place, respectively, in the standings. I definitely think they're going to be higher than 8th. And, I mean, yeah, they still can get up to 5th, but that's going to be quite a long shot. I think more than likely you're looking at either 6th or 7th for the Wildcats, which, again, based on the kind of season they've had, you can do pretty much all you can do. You really can't ask for anything more or less at this point. Just try to do your best to win as many games as you can. And obviously, next year, like I said, they're looking way better next year based on the incoming recruiting class, trying to pick up some transfers, several transfers perhaps. So yeah, I definitely think you'll see this Lady Wildcat team back inside that top 4 or 5 next year. Maybe not 5th, but I could definitely see a top 4 spot, no worse than 4th, I think, depending on the preseason projections, which obviously won't be coming out until the middle of October. And then, of course, Mount Vernon Nazarene, the 8 seed at 2-6 right now in the conference. Grace, 1 game behind them at 1-7 in the conference. Goshen, winless in the conference at 0-8 in last place. And, of course, Mount Vernon Nazarene already beat Grace this year once, so Mount Vernon Nazarene holding that tiebreaker. So 10 games remaining on the year, and MVNU, though, in sole possession of 8th place in the conference, technically by 2 games with 10 games left to play in the standings. So that is going to do it for this video. If you found this video really helpful or informative, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. Thanks so much for tuning in this video, and I'll be back with you more than likely on Sunday afternoon, recapping all the games from Saturday, and then I'll be back with you after Sunday afternoon. I'll be back on Monday, going over the updated RPI numbers, especially on the women's side, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. And then Tuesday, I will be recording a video as well, going over the updated ARC numbers and the quad records, because those all come out on Tuesday. And then, of course, next week, everybody has the week off after Saturday, where the second half of conference play officially starts next Saturday, January 24th. So I'll be getting you set up on Tuesday for all those games next Saturday, so make sure that you stay tuned for all of that. Have a great rest of your day. God bless, and I will see you on Sunday for more Matt Sports Talk. God bless.